Kadee, keeping it together for over 75 years. Okay, we're back with a different manufacturer's car. This is made by Athearn. It's one of their newer cars. It operates very nicely. I had put it on the track and I checked the coupler height. All these things look good to me. But as I rotated the car around, I noticed that there was a coupler on it that is not Kadee. It's a aftermarket knuckle type coupler. But as I look at it closely, I see the return mechanism for the coupler knuckle. It's not a metal spring, it's a piece of plastic, a little strip there. And I've learned over time that plastic, especially something this small, ends up losing its resiliency, which means the coupler knuckle is not always going to stay closed. And the longer you have it, the worse the problem gets. So I've decided that we're going to replace this with a Kadee number 148 coupler. Those are the ones that have the whiskers on them. We'll go ahead, unscrew the truck. We'll set that down, being careful not to lose the screw. And while I'm at it, I will mention that I like to work on a lighter surface. The contrast makes it easier to find parts if they try to scoot away from me. And we're going to take off the coupler cover also. Another little Phillips head screw. The coupler falls out and I discover something else. What we have here are two more plastic parts that it uses for its centering mechanism. Again, these will lose their resiliency as compared to a Kadee number 148 coupler, which is all metal, including the mechanism that returns the knuckle to close, and these two little whiskers that it used for centering. Those are also metal. So we will go ahead, set the coupler in the box. I'll hold it there. We will put the cover back on. Screw is cooperated, it's sitting perfectly vertical. I will advise you, don't tighten the screw too much. It is a metal screw on plastic, and you can strip that out. Now, as I move the coupler to test it, I find out that there's a little resistance, and after I promised you it would return to the center, it's sitting off to the side. There's just a little bit of catch there that it's not returning to the center. And what we have here is the draft or height of this coupler box is a little shallower than standard. The good news is it's very easy to fix. And it will take less than a minute. We're going to get the coupler out. I'm going to get a flat file like this, and we are going to begin to file the top of this to take off a very small amount of metal. And I'm being careful not to disturb the little whiskers. And after a little bit of filing, I'm going to say probably no more than about 30 or 40 seconds, I end up with something. You can see it's taken the blackening material off the metal. And if I had to guess, I've probably taken off about 3/100ths of an inch. It's not much at all. Let's go ahead and drop that in there now. Do a quick test, make sure I don't have any metal burrs here. There are not. It seems to move quite freely. I'm going to put the cover back on. The screw is in there. Again, being careful not to over tighten the screw. This is where patience pays off. So the cover's back on, and look how freely the coupler moves. I can move it full scale left, full scale right, and it just comes back to center. This is good. We will put the truck back on. We've put the screw back in, and at this point I check, the truck still turns freely. If for some reason it didn't, back the screw off just a touch. It doesn't wobble, it's nice and tight. We put the car on the track. We're going to check it with our coupler gauge. Now we slide this together and we find out the coupler is just a touch low. The first indication that that was going to happen is I moved this in, I could see the trip pin just have a little resistance on this little lip here. And we want that to just clear it. And we might set and say, see, it's even having trouble coupling, not because of anything we've done wrong. The whole car is a little bit too low. So the question comes about, when it's just off this little amount, what can I do to fix it? Well, Kadee makes two really great products. I'm going to show them to you here. They are these washers. This gray one is 1/100th of an inch thick, and it's Kadee product number 209. The red one is 50% bigger. It's 0.015 inches thick. Let me see if I can hold these out for you so you can see them on the camera. And that is Kadee product number 208. These come in packages of, well, there's many in there. They don't cost much, and I always keep some on hand. So we have a choice as to which of the washers we're going to put in an 010 or an 015. And I tend to start with the smaller ones. And so we're going to put this 010 in there. It's gray. They're color-coded. The truck goes on. The screw goes in. Now, I'm going to give you a caution here. I tightened the screw as I did last time, and I want you to notice the truck is not turning freely. And the reason for that is we've got an extra 1/100th of an inch in there. This is a good lesson to learn. I'm going to back that off just the slightest amount. The truck turns freer, but not as free as I want. I'm going to back it off just a touch more. The truck turns very freely now. No resistance at all. So that was a good thing to see happen. If that stayed tight like that, it was probably going to derail when it went around a curve. The car rolls freely. We're going to take a look and see how it coupled up. That is now at a very good height. The center marking on the coupler, the mold seam matches up with the coupler, and we now have a car that is just perfect at that end. Repeat at the other end. You would just take it out, replace it with a coupler. You could anticipate you're going to have to do a little filing. We did at the one end, probably will at the other. And in this case, when we're done, and this is not unusual, I have not put a washer at the other end yet. And the coupler height at this end is perfect. So it's not unusual for you to have to put a spacer at one end of the car and not at the other. Visit Kadee.com for more information.